Hi, Martin again for Let's Talk About Wood. And today we are going to look at how can we surface plane a small or big piece of wood with the CNC. Sometime in a project I want some small piece of wood that I have, but that they were not plane when they were big. So I'm going to show you today how to plane them directly with the CNC machine, and then you're going to be able to use them wherever you want. And sometimes, yes, it's good for small, but it could be big piece, you know, some wood that you are not able, cannot go into your planer, might be done on your CNC naturally, depending on the size of your CNC.
You can look at it right now surfacing a board. But honestly, it's exactly the same thing as if you're using a router with a router sled to surface a big board. But in fact, over here, it's done by computer. In fact, I'm using Carbide Create in order to do it. First of all, you set up the size of your board. I'm using millimeter because it's more precise, more easier to configure it. So the width, the length, and how big the thickness of the board. Next, I'm going to create a rectangle around my board, and in fact a little bit bigger than the board, 1 centimeter wider, in fact 2 on both ends, so 1 centimeter around the board. I want to make sure that when the surfacing is done, that it's going to fill up exactly all the space, all the board, all the wood. Let's center it. It's a lot easier. It's a lot better. Next, the tool path. You can use whatever bit you want, but in fact, I'm going to use a 1-inch bit that is built for that. Yes, you can use a 1/8, but you will have a lot of time lost over here. So the bit I'm using is the V-bit, the end mill, MechFly from Carbide Create. It's a 1-inch, and you can use it for half of it, like every bit. You use it half of the bit size. About the speed, I keep it as it's set up right away. Decided to go with 1 millimeter at a time or half a millimeter at a time, and here I'm going to set up how much millimeter I want to remove in one run of the program. Let's give it a right name, a good name, and I also using the ramping, which is a lot easier on the bit when you start. Here's the setup. Oh, by the way, if you have any kind of setup that you're doing yourself on your machine, write it down in the description as a comment below. You can see how it looks, but it's easy when you do a board. It looks like a board. That's how I set up my zero. I'm going at the highest point of my board, and the machine is going to start at that point. So here it's running at some spot that are lower. That's why we don't hear anything, but you will hear, yeah, here it's removing stuff. You can see how I fix the board. It's from the side, because if you do it by the top, you're going to lose your fixing. Okay, let's fix it by the side. Make sure also that everything is set up to make sure that your mortar is perfectly aligned, square. And if it's not, you can look on YouTube for some video about ramming. All the setup you're doing has to be done depending on the CNC you're using. If it's bigger, if it's tougher, if it can take more, just adjust your spec for that machine. At this point, I decided to measure how much more I want to remove, and it was 5 millimeter. So I corrected the program in order to remove 5 millimeter from the beginning to the end. We can look at it running right now, and it's doing its job 1 millimeter at a time. Wow, perfectly done, perfectly flat. The whatever line you're seeing is just because of the bit, but if you touch it, you can figure out that it's perfectly flat. Guess what? Two sides. A board has two sides, so let's flip and do the same thing on the other side. And here you can see the machine goes, and let's hear the sound of music. No, the sound of CNC.
So here it is, a small board already plain for my future project. And in fact, that's why I'm not removing it, because I'm going to use it right away. I hope you appreciate it. Thank you.